This is a CBS News special report. I'm James Brown at CBS News headquarters in New York. President Trump is paying a surprise visit to U.S. troops in Iraq. The president and First Lady, Melania Trump, arrived a short time ago at Al-Assad Air Base outside the capital city, Baghdad. This is Mr. Trump's first visit to Iraq and his first visit to a combat zone since becoming commander-in-chief. The U.S. currently has about 5,200 troops inside Iraq. They're helping Iraqi forces consolidate gains against the terror group ISIS. The president's trip comes about a week after his abrupt announcement to withdraw all 2,000 U.S. troops from Syria and potentially about half of the 14,000 in Afghanistan. For more on the president's unannounced trip to Iraq, let's bring in Chip Reid at the White House. Hello, Chip.
Well, hello. I just got a tweet from Sarah Sanders, White House press secretary, that says President Trump and the First Lady traveled to Iraq late on Christmas night to visit with our troops and senior military leadership to thank them for their service, their success, and their sacrifice, and to wish them a Merry Christmas. As you said, this is his first time to visit Iraq or Afghanistan or any combat zone. There had been quite a bit of pressure on him to do this. He has been criticized by people who noted that President Obama traveled to Iraq in the first 3 months he was in office, and President Bush traveled to Iraq within the first 8 months of the Iraq war. He was asked in October, why have you not visited the troops in Iraq or Afghanistan? And he said, I will do that at some point, but I don't think it's overly necessary. That brought on more criticism. And shortly after that, he was interviewed by Fox News. He was asked that question again, when is he going to go? And he said, I think you will see that happen. There are things that are being planned. So it's not a surprise that he has decided to do this. But the timing was a mystery until now. He is now on the ground at Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq with the First Lady. James?
All right, Chip, thank you so very much. And folks, we now turn to David Martin at the Pentagon. David?
Well, Iraq, of course, is the place where the commanders of the operation in Syria are located, and the president has decided to pull 2,000 troops, all 2,000 troops, out of Syria. So I expect one of the things that will happen while he is in Iraq is that he will get a briefing from the local commanders on the plans for a withdrawal. He originally said this would be a complete and immediate withdrawal. Now he has changed that to it will be a slow and deliberate withdrawal. And I think that probably more accurately reflects the conditions on the ground, because as recently as over Christmas, there has been some pretty intense fighting against ISIS and by U.S.-backed forces in Syria. And in addition to the threat of ISIS to their front, these U.S.-backed fighters are also facing the threat of a cross-border operation by the Turkish military. So this is a very uncertain time for the troops in Syria. Now, whether or not the president would also withdraw some troops from Iraq, all we know about that is that he has expressed to Iraq's prime minister that he does not want to keep troops there and spending U.S. taxpayer dollars in pursuit of ISIS indefinitely. However, I have seen over here at the Pentagon no indication yet of any decision to pull troops out of Iraq.
David Martin at the Pentagon. David, thank you so very much. We're going to check back in now. We understand that the president is speaking. Let's check back at the White House with Chip Reid.
Well, James, I understand people are telling me that the president is speaking, and he, moments ago, I don't have the exact wording, but said or suggested that he has no immediate plans to remove those troops from Iraq. As David mentioned earlier, or you may have mentioned, there are about 5,200 of them in Iraq now. You know, a lot of people think that Barack Obama pulled all the troops out of Iraq. Not so. There's still about 5,000 or 5,200 there. And just for context, let me remind people that the president said in September that he thought the biggest single mistake ever made in the history of our country was George W. Bush's decision to send troops into Iraq, to that initial invasion in 2003. So it is not a war that he favors, but with the troops right now, apparently he's telling them he has no immediate plans to pull them out. James?
Chip Reid at the White House and, of course, David Martin at the Pentagon. Thank you both for those reports. Again, the headline of the hour, President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump make a surprise visit to troops in Iraq. The president says he has no plans at all to remove U.S. troops from the country. There will be more coverage of the president's trip on your local news on this CBS station, on our 24-hour streaming news service, CBSN, at cbsnews.com, and tonight on the CBS Evening News. For now, I'm James Brown, CBS News, New York.